everyone. So I'm back again with another session on sounding professional. As I said that when you are in a public gathering or in a formal discussion, you have to sound professional so that you don't hurt anybody's sentiments, and also you have to be very much polite when you talk about few issues. Right? There are many sensitive issues that you will be talking on when you are in a group discussion or in public speaking. So how can we say that in a more respectful way and in a more polite way, and also we have to be assertive. Also not only assertive, but we have to be a little bit formal also. So how is that possible? It is possible because of these phrases that I have got for you. In the past, if you remember, I have told you how to talk about corruption. When we want to talk about corruption, we don't have to directly target the government or the people or any kind of officials. We don't have to do that, right? Also, when we talk about someone who has any kind of impairment like visual impairment and then mobility impairment, how to say that in a very polite way without hurting anybody's sentiments, right? So now we'll continue with today's session, and I'm going to tell you about how to talk, how to tell about poor people. So when we say poor, poor is a very normal word, but as I have told you earlier also, when we talk about something good, bad, these are very normal vocabulary for our daily speaking, right? So how can we make our conversation a little bit, you can say, advanced also? So when we talk about poor people, right, when we talk about poor people, so there are few phrases that you can use, and I'll reiterate that the lines that I have given to you, the phrases that I have given to you, you have to remember as it is, okay? You have to remember and practice as it is, so that when the time comes and you have to speak about poor people, when you have to speak about corruption, so then how can you say that? So the first line that I have got for you is the people facing financial difficulties. So I can say that there is a family in my neighborhood and they are facing financial difficulties, not poor, right? Not poor. That is very disgraceful to call someone poor. But yes, when we have to say something, so there are countries who are facing financial difficulties. I hope that is right. Next, experiencing financial challenges. So the people could not pay fee for their children because they are facing financial challenges. Now the third one for you, managing limited financial resources. So how can we say this? Okay, maybe sentences, for example, the family is finding very difficult to manage with the limited financial resources. So financial resources means the income is less. The income is less, because of which the expenditures are very limited, right? Next, having some financial constraints. So the family has some financial constraints because of which they are unable to go to college for further studies. I hope this is clear. Now, in a tight financial situation, so I can say that yes, there is a little bit problem in their life. So that is why they are in a tight financial situations. So these are the phrases that I've got for you when we talk about, or when you want to talk about someone being poor or unable to afford something. I hope that is clear. Now my next topic is on religion. Alright, so it is a very interesting session, guys, and when we talk about religion, I'm sure there was a news in the Hindu newspaper on November 26th that there was an army officer who was declared unfit for the army because of his faith. He had some other faith, because of which he was unable, he did not want to go there. He did not want to go to a temple or the Gurdwara of his regimental center. So when we talk about this, yes, talking about religion is a very sensitive issue, and when you are in a public gathering, when you are in a group discussion, people of different faith, maybe you never know, people of different faith will be sitting there, right? They will be sitting there. So how can we talk about religion? As I've already told you once again, I'm going to tell you that leadership skill is one of the skills on which you will be assessed when you go for your SSB. So when you talk about leadership skills, in order to showcase your leadership skills, you have to showcase your other abilities also. Like, for example, without hurting the sentiments of others, how can you talk about religion? So when you talk about religion, here the first one I've got for you, the topic of this session is talking about religion without being antagonistic, without hurting anyone's feeling, without being rude. How can you talk? Even I'll give you an example. Even when you look at the newspaper, I'm sure you also look into the newspaper, and when you see the newspaper, you check the newspaper. When it comes to talking about two specific religion, and maybe they had a kind of fight or any case of mob lynching is there, so the newspaper doesn't disclose the identity of those two people. Like for example, they don't say that this religion fought with this religion. Do they do that? No, because that can spark the communal riots between those two religions specifically. So when we talk about religion, so how can we say without naming the religion, right? So we can talk about these things. There are occasional tensions. Now understand the lines. There are occasional tensions between communities. Now which communities? So could be any community. We don't have to be specific about any two communities which are fighting with each other. Here communities. So could be, there are so many communities in India. India is a land of diversity. You also know this. So which community? Maybe the people will understand, or it is quite visible that which community we are talking about. So there are occasional tensions between communities due to religious misunderstandings. So there are religious misunderstandings, there are religious beliefs. So because of which there is always some kind of communal tensions between them. I hope that is clear. So these we can do without naming the religion. I hope that is right. Sometimes is differences. Now see, sometimes differences between religious groups lead to conflict. That is the case, right? But again, I'm going to repeat, सांप भी मर गया और लाठी भी नहीं टूटी. We have mentioned the problem between the religions, and now we are saying that sometimes differences between religious groups. Which religious groups? Could be any religious groups, and we have told here about our issue that sometimes differences in the faith, differences in the belief between religious groups lead to conflict. I hope that is clear. Next, inter-community relations can become strained, right? Strained means can become tensed. Inter-community relations can become tensed or strained when religion is misunderstood or misused. So we also know that sometimes there are people who brainwash few people or communities, because of which there are many terrorist attacks in our country or in any country. Terrorism is one of the biggest problem, not only in India but in the world. So inter-community relations can become strained when religion is misunderstood or misused. I hope that is clear. I have more for you. Certain situations lead to friction between members of different faiths. So see, certain situations. Now what are those? There are many situations, right? There are many situations. The belief in faith, there could be n number of reasons because of which leads to friction between members of different faith. I hope that is clear. So could be right now you are not biased for your religion when you speak here, all right? We have always been in such kind of environment wherein we talk about we are biased for our religion, right? So in that case, sometimes we say something not intentionally but unintentionally, which could be a disaster for us. So how can we say that? Certain situations, could be any situation, can lead to friction, can lead to disagreements between members of different faiths. Okay. Next, communal tensions, related to community. Communal tensions occasionally arise due to deeply rooted religious and socio-political factors. So because social-political factors are different for different people, so because of which there are communal tensions. Okay, so next one that I have for you is relations between the communities have sometimes been affected by religious polarization. Polarization means divided by faith or by belief. So there are relation between the communities gets affected by our religious polarization. We also know that we have certain beliefs, we favor certain party, political party, we don't favor certain political party, because of which the polarization happens. We are divided by our belief and faith. All right. Next one is respectful and polite ways to talk about caste. So when I talk about caste, if you remember, you must have studied in history, sure. In the past, we were divided into few sections, right? In India, we had, I think, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. Yeah, these were the four castes that we had. Now, when we talk about the last caste, the fourth caste, Shudras, now they are known as scheduled castes. So when you talk about scheduled caste in group discussion, or you have to speak in a public place, in public speaking, how will you talk about the people? Now when we talk about scheduled caste, we have to be a little bit respectful. We would not say scheduled caste, we will say marginalized communities. So we can say that the government is doing so much for the marginalized communities. I hope that is clear. Next, I'll give an example over here. He works to uplift the marginalized communities. So there are many NGO, there are many groups who are working to make their life better. So he works to uplift the marginalized communities, right? Socially disadvantaged groups. So we can use this socially disadvantaged groups. What we are doing is we are doing, don't get into practicalities. We are just trying to say something in a polite way, in a respectful way, in a better way so that it sounds good. So socially disadvantaged groups. Schemes have been introduced to support the socially disadvantaged groups. Schemes have been introduced to support the socially disadvantaged groups. Now, underrepresented communities, right? So we need more opportunities for underrepresented communities. All right. There is one more term which I would like to present here. The term is historically oppressed societies, but do not use that. In the past, we also know that historically few communities were a little bit oppressed in the past. So we are going to, there is a term also, but do not use that, historically oppressed communities, but that is just a good to know information, right? So these are the few phrases that I had got for you in order to be more professional when you speak in a social environment. I hope that is clear for you. Do use them, because I have already told them that practice is the key to success. You will only be able to learn these and you will only be able to learn this if you practice. All right. So that's all for now. Do practice them. If you really like the video and you think it is useful, do like and subscribe to our channel for more tips, tricks and updates like this. So have a nice weekend. Until next time, bye-bye.
Kindly subscribe DDA YouTube channel and don't forget to press bell icon.